got a bad feeling in my guts. From the ceiling down to my nuts. It's this anxiety, it's overwhelming me, and everyone can see I'm gonna shit my pants. Shit my pants. I'm gonna let it go, let it flow down my legs so you will know I shit my pants. And I'll do it again, 5 times, maybe 10. Everybody in the club and it's pumping. Everyone is jumping. That girl's doing something. She is saying she got to go. She's doing that dance that lets us know she's gonna shit her pants. Shit her pants. She's gonna let it go, let it flow down her legs so you will know she shit her pants. And she'll do it again, never know where or when.
Good evening, folks. It's another box of dogs. I'm just jumping on to do a quick one, just to get some things that I've been thinking off my chest, basically. It's pretty late. It's like 1 in the morning, so not expecting to have people join, so that kind of might be good. So I'll just talk. I did notice, clipping up my last stream, that I swore a lot and said a lot. At least that's what AI decided to pick out of my stream. So AI does have its uses. It has picked me up on something that I've been doing that is not really the way to do it.
Again, but I know what'll make you feel better.
Oh, no, not another box of dogs!
It's another box of dogs!
Yeah, so welcome to the show. I'm just going to chat about a few things. This episode is called The Star of David Hogg because, I don't know, it just occurred to me earlier. I believe, I've been watching what's going on with David Hogg, his whole progress. Starts out as a young idealist, get rid of all the guns kind of guy, and now they've moved him into the Democrat Party. I really believe that he one day is going to be President of the United States. Not because he deserves to be, not because he's like, oh my God, what a young, hopeful thing. This guy, he'll be President of the United States because he's so wonderful. No, I don't like the guy at all. I believe he'll be President of the United States because it's what they've already decided. These people play the long game. They really do start. That's how long these games they play, and whether that all happens, maybe he'll mess it up. But these are they put these people in place, and they aim them in the direction that they want them to go, and they keep them on the path. And they are the chess pieces that they use. And I just see him as being president in the making. The president that will step in and get rid of the Second Amendment altogether. So I would be kind of careful of that. these things, they go back and forth. I mean, Trump has been such a magnificent disappointment to a lot of people. A lot of people still have a lot of faith in him, especially if you happen to be from Israel. A lot of people from Israel love him, but I just see this. It's the same thing. We know what this is. It's theater. It's a game. They play these games. The Epstein files released today. They come out with these ridiculous binders. All these Israeli-backed social media influencers come out holding these binders with this heavily redacted nonsense that's supposed to... How could they in any way think that this would satisfy all the people that have been calling, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein... Anyone that's been calling that... I gave up on that shit a long time ago because I just knew what was going to come out. I mean, the only glimmer I have of hope is like a 1% chance that maybe these guys, they're all playing a long game, but they're not. There's no, that's not what they're doing. They are now in the club, and they're playing the game, and they're part of that crew. And they are going to see it through, and we are going to play our part, which is to serve as the chattel. They are basically what you would call house niggas. All of those motherfuckers up there. They're like, I'm at the point now where, like, I'm constantly in two minds. At this point, I don't know. I mean, the way I always kind of approach this stuff, it's kind of a spiritual solution. This is the thing. I just kind of, I always think, well, you know, I'm not going to be on this world for much longer. How much do I really want to bother, you know, changing it for what? For what? I don't have kids. Very soon I'm going to be entirely alone in this world when it comes to family. So I take a very Zen approach. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see it says in my bio that I am a Christian Taoist. And I'm very much, I've kind of always naturally gravitated towards Taoism. Taoism and Christianity actually work very well together. And that's something Axel said the other day, which, because I was interviewing Axel, and I always want the people I'm interviewing to talk and just talk as much as possible, because it's about getting their ideas across. It's not about me talking when they're on. Unless I have something that I can throw in that's that will make it an interesting conversation. I do realize that in that interview, I probably could have played devil's advocate a bit more, but I didn't. Axel is such a fucking. He just throws out all these ideas and he talks, and I just sit there going, fucking yeah, that sounds good. Let's do that. Let's crash the economy. Let's tank it. I'll take out the housing market. You take out the financial sector. We're going to bring this thing down. So I did enjoy that very much. But yeah, he did say at one stage he thought Christianity was a dying religion. He thought it would die out soon. Now there is a thought that, I mean, Christianity's been under attack for a long time, and the Sanhedrins, the Sanhedrin had Trump go over to Israel, and they proposed an international court of what's his name, Mosaic Justice or something. And this is like, they're talking about you must worship the one God, and you may not blaspheme the God, and the false idol. And these are all based, it's like 8 different laws, and they want to create this justice system that is worldwide. And it just so happens to tie in with the whole globalist agenda of of everyone worshipping the one God and all that kind of stuff. Like it just happens to it just happens to, I mean, look, I did actually do some prep this time, so I've got some stuff prepared, but there's one I didn't pull it up, but I've got it here, and it relates to this. But it's basically, look, we don't really need it, I suppose, but it's basically a rabbi admitting that their God is Lucifer. So the whole idea is that everyone in the world will be forced to worship Lucifer. Now, I don't think people quite understand what Christians will do. Christianity, I don't see it dying. I see it going through a renaissance. And the cool thing about it for me is it's moving out of the churches, because the churches are so... they're so screwed anyway. The churches are just... the stuff that's going on, they're trying to stay relevant. The point of Christianity, you Christians, you're not meant to stay relevant. You're not meant to change with the times. You're meant to be the salt of the earth. You're meant to be the light. You're meant to be the shining example. I'll talk about salt and light at some point. I've got an entire show written about salt and light. Maybe I'll get into it a little bit, but the point is, like, when Christ said you are the salt of the earth, he wasn't, it's not like a flavoring. You got to understand how salt was used back then to understand what he was saying when he said you're the salt of the earth. Because back then, okay, so nowadays if you say, oh, you're the salt of the earth, you might think, oh, there's something that gives it a little more, gives things a little more zing, makes your fried chicken that little bit nicer, and makes you enjoy your watermelon a little more. Maybe a preservative. Maybe if you're a little older, you think of salt as a preservative. But actually back in Jesus' day, they would collect salt from the Dead Sea. And salt back then, and salt from the Dead Sea, has a lot of minerals in it. And Jesus says in the Bible, Jesus said, if a salt lose its saltness, or a salt lose its savor, then it's neither good for the dunghill nor the field. Because the purpose of salt back then was, you would have a pot of salt and you'd go out to your backyard and you'd take a crap in the morning and you'd cover that with salt, and that would stop anything bad growing. It would disinfect the area. Neither is it good for the field, because they would also use salt. That particular salt had potash and all the things that made plants grow. So it was also a great fertilizer. You would sprinkle some salt on it. So the idea is the salt of the earth that makes the good things grow and it holds the bad things back. So that was what the salt of the earth meant. For 700 years, Christians put up with Muslim invasion into Europe. As Muslims moved further and further into Europe and started taking over cities and demanding payment and tithes from Christians, And they just started much, very similar to what they're doing now. And they moved further and further, and they spread across. And they took it, and they took it, and they took it for 700 years. And then one day it reached the English, and they went, nope, not doing it. And they pushed them back. And they drove them out of Europe, back into the Middle East, and they absolutely kicked their asses. This is what's known as the Crusades. So I don't see Christianity dying, but I do see a need for this renaissance in Christianity, because for too long churches pushed this whole meek poverty act that kept Christians in this kind of must be nice to everyone. Like the Christianity is so misunderstood. The more I'm learning about it, the more I'm realizing that the churches have been pushing this Christianity that turns people into chattel. It's just bullshit. But now more and more people are coming to Christianity and coming to Christ. Many of them are actually turning away from Christianity as such. Ma Mary Emanuel said, "I'm not a Christian. I'm a follower of Christ," which I think is a fantastic statement. Because, and I've said it on other podcasts, I've said I'd be a full-on Christian if it weren't for Christians. So many Christians just make Christianity unappealing. It's just... Anyway, it is what it is. That's the Taoist in me. But the Christian in me, Jesus said, "I come with a sword, I come to sow division." Everyone paints him as this surfing hippie that came to bring peace. No, he came with a sword. He was more like Jon Snow than any peacenik. He's like, winter's coming. He's like, it's time to take a stand, and it's getting to that time. Because how far does it have to frickin' go? I'm really trying not to swear. I watched that, clipping it up, it pointed out to me how much I was swearing and umming and yeah. So, and I have been endeavouring not to swear because I don't want to. Unless it's for comedic effect. So right now there's really no need for me to swear, so I will try to not swear, but how much further does this whole thing go? We know what they're doing. We see it constantly. We know they're lying scumbags that are pushing us into enslavement by people that hate us. The people that... The punishment, according to this international law, according to Mosaic law, is beheading. I don't know if you're familiar with the Kasanga massacre that happened this year. February 15th, 70 Christians were beheaded in a church. The media didn't talk about it because no one gives a shit about Christians. If they'd been Jews or gays, it'd be all over the news. If they were Palestinians, no one would care. So, Christians and Palestinians, we got a lot in common. And what they're doing to Palestinians and what they've been doing to Palestinians... a lot of Palestinian babies have been suffering from this insane amount of sudden infant getting shot in the face syndrome. I'm pretty sure, I'm not a doctor, but I'm pretty sure I could stop and I could cure every case of sudden infant getting shot in the fucking face syndrome by getting the Jews to stop shooting him in the fucking face. It's pretty simple. So we're just getting a little preview of what's to come. So at what point do we step up and say, you know what? I think not. At what point do we stop tweeting at these evil scum and say, you know what? I think we're going to take you out on the lawn and sort this all out once and for all. Like, when do we do that? Anyway, just something to think about. Let me know what you think in the comments. I mean, I just think, you know, how long do we put up with this? Something else I've been meaning to talk about, and this all ties in again with the star of David Hogg. I've tweeted this quite a few times and been meaning to talk about it on stream, but I just keep forgetting to talk about it. But it's the idea that Epstein, and I mean now's a good time to talk about it because Epstein files being released, and isn't that exciting? Big folders full of nothing. They don't need Epstein anymore. The funny thing about this is I theorized this quite some time ago, and I didn't realize, but apparently Whitney Webb has come to the same conclusion. So me and Whitney Webb have come to the same conclusion. And that is that they don't need Epstein anymore. They don't need Diddy anymore. I think they kind of took them out because they were kind of sacrificial. And they don't need them. They haven't needed them for a long time because Australia passed a law quite some time ago. I think it was, I don't know, I think it was sometime last year or the year before. And I started, you know, I tweeted about it and put it on Facebook. No one, you know, I don't have that kind of social media presence that people will pick something up that I put out there. And also, all the friends that I have on Facebook are all apathetic twats that are comedians that simply don't care about this stuff. But the point is, Australia passed a law a while ago that basically gives I think it's ASIO anyway, it's the national security people, it gives them a legal right to access your device. So your phone, your computers, they can access your device, they can put files on, they can take files off, they can do anything they want to your phone, basically. So if they want to shut you up or screw you up, they just access your device. They put some child pornography on there, and then they come and arrest you for having child pornography on your phone. I said this at the time. I pointed this out. I was like, well, this basically ruins every case of CP. Sorry, I keep forgetting to talk in code. Being on YouTube, I have to talk in code. So every case of CP now is dubious and suspect. And I've always wondered, there was a guy recently, he was like he owned a magazine, ran a magazine, and he was like, oh, they caught him with CP. Really? Did he also say things that maybe the government didn't like? Was he like publishing things that people did? Like, every case now is suspect. If the government can just put things on your phone, whatever they want, so they no longer need Epstein. They no longer need these Epsteins and these Diddies. And they were doing their own, Diddy was doing his own thing in the music industry. He'd learned from the best, is my guess. But the fact that every piece of garbage out there is just like, I'll do whatever Israel wants. Let's, I just think that's, it's quite possible they've already got that on them. And all right, let's put this. Okay, I don't actually have. Where is it? SNL Israel sketch. This is the. Well, I had it just before, but no. It's the sketch that was on. Oh, here we go. All right, so this sketch was.
Well, that's bull.
Woof, woof.
Whoops, flicked around. So this sketch was never played.
So let me pose to you a hypothetical. You get an urgent call from the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, who truly is one of the greatest men of this or any age.
Bingo.
Damn straight, damn straight.
And he says to you, it is vital to Israel's security that you go on national television that night and perform oral sex on a donkey.
Oral sex on a donkey?
That's right. That's right. Would you do that for Israel?
Senator, with all due respect, why would the security of Israel
Excuse me, Senator, if it's all right with you, I'll ask the questions here. Now remember, the survival of Israel is at stake. Would you fillet that donkey?
I don't think so.
Then I regret to say, Senator, I cannot support your confirmation.
Hey, I do it for Israel. Bring me the donkey.
For Israel, I do it in a second, but then I grew up on a farm, so.
Pretty much the state of things currently. I mean, that's, it's not a bad sketch, but you can see why it didn't. But I mean, that's the state of what's going. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want money, by the way, I do want money. So the reason I'm able to say all these things is because no one's ever given me enough money to make me form a solid opinion about anything. But hey, you give me a couple of mil and tell me what I think, I'm your guy. Oh man, Israel are just they're just absolutely smashing it, aren't they, at the moment? Actually, the president of United States, Benjamin Netanyahu, I think he blows donkeys. In fact, I'm almost certain that it's like his favorite pastime. This struck me as weird, not just because it's Pete Davidson. That is weird in itself, but just this is his cold opening to SNL, because I think, I mean, he's on the internet. He's got to have heard some of these theories about who did 9/11. And if you don't know, his father was a firefighter in New York who died in 9/11.
This week, we saw the horrible images and stories from Israel and Gaza. And I know what you're thinking. Who better to comment on it than Pete Davidson? Well, in a lot of ways, I am a good person to talk about it because when I was 7 years old, my dad was killed in a terrorist attack. So I know something about what that's like. I saw so many terrible pictures this week of children suffering, Israeli children and Palestinian children. And it took me back to a really horrible, horrible place. And, you know, no one in this world deserves to suffer like that, you know, especially not kids, you know. After my dad died, my mom tried pretty much everything she could do to cheer me up. I remember one day when I was 8, she got me what she thought was a Disney movie, but it was actually the Eddie Murphy stand-up special, Delirious. And we played it in the car on the way home, and when she heard the things Eddie Murphy was saying, she tried to take it away. But then she noticed something. For the first time in a long time, I was laughing again. I don't understand it. I really don't, and I never will, but sometimes comedy is really the only way forward through tragedy. You know, my heart is with everyone whose lives have been destroyed this week. But tonight, I'm gonna do what I've always done in the face of tragedy, and that's try to be funny. Remember, I said try. And live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Well, live from Melbourne, it's actually Saturday morning at the moment, but you know, whatever, Pete. Anyway, you heard it yourself. Eddie Murphy did 9/11. I think that's the takeaway from that. I wasn't really paying attention. I tend to tune out when Pete Davidson says anything, but I just thought that was weird. I thought that's got to be a tough one for him going on there after losing his father, either losing his father in 9/11 or maybe his dad just went out for cigarettes and just was like, now here's a good opportunity to disappear. Anyway. So, this was, this actually,
So like he
this was great. I'm going to show you this one. This is, this was clipped, Too Lazy to Try, the Too Lazy to Try channel, dude. He makes very good videos, actually. He's commenting on comedy and whatnot, but yeah, Tim Dillon, one of the funniest guys around. Definitely one of the best podcasters. Maybe if I practice, I'll get that good, but probably not. So let's just listen to what Tim Dillon has to say about Lex Friedman.
I can't even believe he's talking to me. And everyone says he's a genius. I don't know if he's a genius. I'm sure he is a genius. What does he do? He's a coder?
Yeah, for AI. Yeah.
Wait, so what does that even mean?
So like he
Does anyone have to ask credentials anymore? Everyone goes, Eric Weinstein's a genius. Does anyone know why? What? Is there anything they've done? No, truly, because all they do is talk. Is there anything they've built? Is there one appliance that they have anything to do with? Have they come up with something even like the Rotato, which peels and slices a potato as you could? Is there one thing any of them have done except whack off Elon Musk and talk? I'm literally asking. And I love them all. And I don't, but I do. But whatever. They're funny. But I mean, and you can't find a thing they do. What is their job? What is any of their jobs?
to do research.
Into what? Why and who? Where? Where's the what? They all do research all day. What are they researching? They're just talking about trans people. They're all supposedly tech geniuses who's talking about who has a cock.
That does seem to be the move now, whacking off Elon Musk. I mean, I don't know. I gotta say, I'm gonna jump on the whacking off Elon Musk thing here just for a sec. I like Elon Musk because I always wondered what would happen if you gave $400 billion to a baby. And now we're getting to see exactly what would happen if you give $400 billion to a baby. So Elon Musk is... X is so good sometimes. I don't have them lined up, but I've got them in my bookmarks. I'll pull it up another time. But X, I've had this run with X where it will put you watch a video and the next video is just the perfect, it's lined up perfectly. And I always wonder, is someone doing this on purpose? Is someone at X just... Anyway, I was watching a video and it was Elon Musk talking about Sam Altman. And he was saying how, Sam Altman is this guy that is very, he's not a good person. And if you know anything about Sam Altman, that is a very true statement. He does not seem to be a good person. Elon was going on about how Sam Altman is a liar. And he was saying, you don't want a liar in charge of all this stuff. I think we should have honest people in charge. The video ended and it popped up to the next video. And the very next video was about how Elon Musk was grifting on the whole, I'm the best game player in the world, and he was hiring people and he was absolutely lying about being the world's greatest gamer. It was just, the timing was perfect. So they're all liars, but Elon, you're a giant baby with $400 billion. Fucking God bless you. You keep doing you. The one thing I like about Elon being this kind of so deep in with Trump, the the other president of the United States. It's like we're getting to see who the deep state is. It's like the deep state, but it's just open this time. It's like previously we didn't necessarily know who the deep state was. This is like, I don't know, every time I see Elon Musk in the office with Trump in the Oval Office, I feel like it's been bring your kid to work day. That's what it looks like to me. It's just, I don't know. I thought this one was fun as well. As I pulled this up, I'm going to shut it down. I do need to get up early in the morning. I've got to work. I'm just not tired. I've been, even though I am still smoking, I'll give you a little tip. What I've been doing the last few days, when I smoke cigarettes more like a cigar. I don't necessarily suck the smoke in. I blow most of it out, suck a little bit of it in. I think over the last 2 days I've managed to cut my smoking down by about a quarter. And today I just had mad energy. I ran up the 1,000 steps. I didn't run all the way up. Ran about 100 meters up the steps and then kind of just walked the rest. Fucking weights and shit. Just mad energy all day. It was really good. But I do probably need to crash shortly. So, but I thought this was fun. And this is just one of those perfect kind of, these things these things happen, they're perfect because, the feminists, unless they're a TERF, and I tend to agree with the TERFs. So if there's any feminists that I agree with, it's TERFs. The trans exclusionary feminists generally, but I also don't give a fuck, so but I just find the TERFs are kind of a bit more old school about it all. But this I found hilarious because all the feminists out there, they're like, oh, we've got to support the trans women because feminism's progressive and whatever. And then this happened. Being a man was too much hard work, so I became a woman. Furthering their whole narrative that being a woman is the hardest thing on the planet. There's no other member of any other species on the planet that can just fuck their way through life, but apparently it's just much harder to be a woman.
Woof, woof.